You know when you have a discomfort or an injury or something that's really bothering you in your body, but you can't seem to get to the bottom of what it actually is, and the doctors don't really seem to have answers for you either? Yeah, I've been there too, and we're going to talk all about that today. Welcome to Health, Harmony, and Happiness with Kathy. I'm your host, Kathy Stricker. I'm a state patrol wife, mama to 3 lively kiddos, a yoga teacher, certified NLP coach, and an energetic rhythms expert. As an energetic rhythms coach, I help action-taking women use their body's rhythms and the moon's cycle to optimize productivity and avoid burnout without letting their desire to remain in control alter their focus. And this podcast is all about doing just that and perhaps a bit more so that you can create your own path to health, harmony, and happiness. So come along with me, and may this episode serve as a nudge to discover tools that could help you on your path towards more intentional living. Enjoy the show. Hey friends, welcome to episode 61 of the podcast. Thanks for being here today. We are talking all about mind-body awareness and the truth behind your aches and pains. Let me tell you that if you're listening to this when this podcast goes live, it is in between Christmas and New Year's. Bring yourself to that place right now if you're not actually listening to this when it is going live, because I'm recording it before then as well too. So in your mind, just go ahead and bring yourself to that space in between the holidays. During the midst of all the craziness, people are wanting to get together. You're doing all of the last minute details as you host events or host parties, or even as you prepare to bring things to other people. It can feel a little bit chaotic. It can feel a little bit crazy. And in the midst of all of that, perhaps you've got a silly discomfort in your body. Maybe it's a knee, maybe it's a shoulder, maybe it's a back or a hip. Whatever it may be, it's there. And it feels amplified because there is so much going on around you. Can you picture that? Can you imagine that? Maybe you've been there. Maybe you're there right now in your body. It's the end of the year. Stress is at a high point because it is the end of the year, and we are doing all of the things to try to make others happy, to try and make ourselves look as though we've got it all together. But I'm going to tell you right now, friend, you don't have to do all of those things. What if maybe you just need to listen to your body instead? And let's talk about that today. That is exactly why we're here. So to me, body awareness, which yoga definitely teaches us, is knowing and feeling the slight changes or subtle shifts in your physical, mental, and emotional self. And on a higher level, it's maybe even being able to anticipate some of those discomforts that might come along, especially when talking about your regular cyclical rhythms. You may get to this place and point where you know the specific events or triggers or place in your cycle where you're going to start to feel those discomforts. Now that's ideal because then you can anticipate them and you can begin to shift your behavior, shift your choices to align with your highest good so that you're not experiencing those discomforts nearly as greatly. But that's not always the case. Definitely not always the case. So remember a couple weeks ago when we talked about, or when I gave you a rundown of the Maya Kosha model, and I told you that the first layer of that Maya Kosha model is the physical body. It's the one we're most intimately connected and related to, the one we are most aware of, if you will. And then from there, it moves on in deepening your awareness of your breath, then your mental and emotional, then your mind in terms of wisdom, and so forth. Well, the physical body is the one that we are so aware of, and yet it is the one that acts as a mirror reflecting what's going on in the mind. And that's beautiful in that regard. And one of the things that I tell clients often is that your mind and body are one and not separate as we've been led to believe. We can't treat one thing here and another thing here and another thing here. It's all connected as one. What happens in one is a direct reflection of the other. So when it comes to dis-ease or discomfort in your physical body, it's likely that it's your physical body trying to get you to pay attention to something in your mental or emotional awareness as well. I'm going to say that again because it is so important, friends. When you are feeling discomfort in your body, it is likely, unless it was caused by some sort of accident or fall, and maybe even if it was caused by a fall, but that's another that goes down another rabbit hole. So when you are feeling discomfort in your physical body, it's likely that it is your body or your soul's way of trying to get you to pay attention to something in your mental or emotional awareness as well. Even if it's a cold, even if it is congestion, allergies, whatever it may be, the mind-body connection is so intimate. And as though it is one that they're a direct reflection of each other. So we're going to go into that today. I also want to remind you that discomfort in your body is stuck energy. And stuck energy cannot flow, right? It's stuck. It's stagnant. So it causes discomfort. It causes dis-ease, not disease, dis-ease, right? Unease in your body. When you can allow yourself to be open to whatever that part of your body is trying to communicate with you, it begins to flow. Energy can flow there. So instead of saying no to it and of trying to do everything in your power to get rid of it, what if you just said yes to it and listened to it? I recorded this episode actually back in the fall when I had a sinus infection, and it was in the books to do the episode, and it just so happened to be that I had a sinus infection at the same time, which kind of makes me chuckle. So you'll get to hear all about that relationship as well. Enjoy the show. I'm feeling a little bit better, although I don't sound a whole lot better. I feel like I sound worse today. I have a sinus infection, and I got 2 doses of medication in yesterday, which is great. But today I'm feeling it. It feels like everything is starting to drain and release from my sinuses. Which this is so interesting because what is my body trying to tell me? And I know what it is, and I know what the confusion and like sinus congestion is a symptom of confusion. And that's exactly what we're talking about today, is how your body gives you messages, how your discomforts, aches, and pains are messengers in your body to do something. But often we ignore it. Often we've just grown accustomed to experiencing those sensations. And I'll tell you, my sinus stuff has probably been going on for a couple weeks, and it's been interesting because as I think back, like the past couple weeks, I've just felt kind of almost like I've had a shift in energy where I almost feel stuck, feel like just things have changed. And I had a headache a couple days. It was probably 2 weeks ago, and I don't normally get headaches. And then I just felt some other stuff in my body, and I'm like, oh, this is weird, but it's just like allergies probably. So I upped my allergy medicine and was like, it's fine. Like, it's just allergies. I'm ignoring these messages that my body is telling me, this confusion. And I didn't sleep very well on Saturday night because everything was just draining into my throat. And I would wake up trying to cough, but I wouldn't cough anything up. And I could just feel all this. My throat felt full. And I thought, oh boy, okay, it's time to do something. So I'm grateful that that we had a clinic that was open that I could go to and actually get started on some antibiotics. But I know exactly what it's due to. It's due to the fact that I have been feeling a little bit confused and a little bit just disoriented on the direction that I'm going next. And I had a coaching call last week that really clarified some of that. So it's like it lodged some stuff free, and now I'm beginning to flow with it again. And that's part of the reason, or part of the things that I want to talk to you about today too, or ask your help with today, is maybe jumping on a call with me, just a 20-minute call, so I can do some research. So listen to today's information, and if you feel like you would want to give up 20 minutes of your time to just answer some questions about me, not about me. You're not going to answer questions about me. Just answer some questions so that I can have a better idea as I am creating a program to integrate a starter program completely to integrate my energetic rhythms yoga with your menstrual cycle and the lunar cycle. Put all of those together in a affordable starter program. But I just have some questions that I need help answering. And so if you are willing to give up about 20 minutes of your time, raise your hand in the comments below, because I would love that, and I would be so grateful. And that's the thing that I've gained some clarity. It all is coming together, and that I had this experience over the weekend about with my body communicating and me actually not listening for probably a couple weeks. But so there's times when our body communicates and when we don't listen. Then there's times when the discomfort gets so great that we listen and we start to dig into what could be causing that, right? Now, there are even times when maybe you know your body is speaking to you, yet unconsciously you're not actually ready to dig into what that issue is. You're not actually ready to remedy the discomfort. Even though consciously you may say, yep, I'm ready to get rid of that. I don't want that in my life anymore. I don't want that sore hip in my life anymore. I don't want that tight shoulder in my life anymore. I'm ready to tackle it. Your unconscious may not be at that point yet. And so yoga is a beautiful tool to use when we have some of those things. And it's honestly the consistency over time that just begins to work on those stubborn areas. Or it's the fact that then you actually have something drastic happen and you have to go get it repaired by a doctor, or you have to get medication like I did for my sinuses. Have you been here with your body? I'm sure you have. But if you have, let me know in the comments. I'm sure you've been there with your body where you know you have a discomfort and you want to get rid of it. But something in your subconscious is just not quite ready to let go of it. And I guess maybe I need to back up a little bit. This is with the belief and the understanding that your body, the things that happen in your body, the discomforts, the aches, the pains, the openness that happens is a direct reflection of your mind, is a direct reflection of your mindset. And that's something that I firmly believe. I've believed it for a long time. The mind-body connection is so great. You guys know that and science has proven that how we think actually creates who we are as a person, right? So when we fill ourselves with the positivity and positive thoughts and surround ourselves with those types of things, we also create that. You can simply even stand in this kind of power stance with hands on your hips. It's almost like a Wonder Woman stance. 2 minutes. It will greatly increase your confidence and your belief in yourself. And that's just a simple little practice you can do anytime, any place. And it's a great representation of how the mind or the body postures are connected to the mind. The mind is connected to the body postures. And so by moving our bodies in certain ways, we can create different outcomes, different feelings. Kind of like with our breath, right? Our breath creates who we are as well. So, oh my gosh, whew, all over the place already this morning. So when you've got those things that maybe are persistent, like a persistent backache or plantar fasciitis, or even discomfort with your menstrual cycle, like cramps, back pain, headaches, these are the things that I have experienced in my life, some of these sorts of things, and know that during these times of life of heightened mental stress, they're much worse. And that's telling me that I need to connect with something else. It's telling me that I really need to go inward and connect with my physical body, which will, in essence, connect with the energetic, the emotional, the mental, and on down the road. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. All the discomforts and aches and pains are messengers in your body, and they're messengers that your body uses to talk to you, to communicate with you. But sometimes, as I mentioned, we've had those aches and pains for so long that they just become a part of who we are. And we begin to define ourselves by the fact that you have that issue. Maybe it is you get migraines before your period. Well, that's just who I am. I've always had that. I've always done that. So that's who you define yourself as. Not right, wrong, or indifferent. And I'm not judging here at all. I'm just saying sometimes, and I'm using that as an example, sometimes those discomforts, those things that we experience just become a part of us. The back pain that maybe you experience, it has just become a part of you. Like, oh, it's just who I am. And it's just what I tolerate every day. And then maybe you grow accustomed to taking medication for that, to taking ibuprofen, to taking something. That's not necessary. There's deeper work under the surface that has to be done. It may be necessary in the temporary, but all those things, all those signs, those symptoms are ways that your body is communicating with you. I'm just going to take a second here. Hold on a second. Yeah. So as I was saying, as these aches and pains have taken up residence, it's the reminder that you have to have that your mind and body are one and they're not separate, as you might have been led to believe. Just as I said at the beginning, what happens in one is a reflection of the other, with the exception of aches and pains that are caused by deterioration because of ignored unhealthy belief patterns, right? So the arthritis, the things that really are, that have been your body deteriorating over time because of belief patterns that have gone unaddressed, those things are a little bit different, right? It's a matter of, like I said, those belief patterns have gone unaddressed to no fault of your own, because it's likely that you weren't even aware that your body believed this, or that you thought something that created these aches and pains. Thoughts indeed do create aches and pains. So in essence, in theory, you change your thoughts, change the way you think, you can change your aches and pains, or those aches and pains will potentially go away. I've been experiencing a lot of this actually in the past month. Over the summer, I felt great. And remember when I talked to you a while back about my left side foot pain and shoulder stuff, and I was doing physical therapy for those things. And it virtually went away. I felt great. And literally within the past 2 weeks, it started to come back. And isn't that interesting that it has started to come back? And also my sinus stuff started happening. I think it's fascinating. It blows my mind. And I'm also doing a lot of healing work, as you know, I usually am. But I think it's interesting that all of these things are resurfacing as I'm starting to dig in a little bit more and get to the icky, uncomfortable parts of myself again. So under stress, the body responds with communicating in certain ways to you. And it may look different in the different seasons of your life. So let's take, for instance, if you have a painful period. Under stress, this is how your body is going to respond. Your period doesn't have to be painful. It's the painful period. The belief is that it's a reflection of hatred, believe it or not, of yourself or of the body or of your femininity. So if you can begin to peel back and remove the stress and start to embrace who you are as a woman and all of your rhythms, then you start to eliminate those painful periods. You start to send more of a nurturing message to your body. Now, I get that this is not the case for everybody because those diagnosed with PCOS or other menstrual-related problems, it could just be the way that it is. And it may take longer also to change these beliefs because it does take a long time to change beliefs sometimes. It may take working with a coach to help you understand what beliefs are actually causing the issues that you work through. And this is one of the things that I do with my clients, not just with periods, but with your body communicating with you. I usually do this in my integrative yoga and coaching sessions, and I help clients use yoga as a tool for body awareness, which deepens the connection with the aches and pains, or that could be causing the aches and pains. So it's a pretty cool system that I've begun to use with clients and to help them understand their body a little bit more. But to me, body awareness, which yoga teaches us, is knowing and feeling the slight changes or shifts in your physical, energetic, emotional, and mental self. So those aches and pains that have become a part of you and that often go unrecognized or even repeatedly produce symptoms that are treated through chiropractic care or massage or yoga or other modalities, may not help specifically address the root of the cause, right? Because they're good because they start to introduce that body awareness, all of those modalities. So chiropractics, massage, yoga, they all begin to get you in touch with the physical and start to introduce you to body awareness, but they might not actually connect you with digging into the root cause, which is the thought work, the aches and pains as they relate to the beliefs that you have, right? And so until we begin to address those things, you're likely going to continue to have some of those repeated symptoms. Sometimes those symptoms go away and you don't even realize that you had the belief change, but it happens and it's a beautiful thing. I'll tell you what, I've experienced that as well. So first, you have to have the body awareness. And as I said, I'm working on a course that is very introductory, and it can take you through introducing you to this body awareness through yoga, and also using your energetic rhythms. Your menstrual cycle, the lunar cycle, menstrual cycle if you have a menstrual cycle anymore, the lunar rhythms if you don't, and if you do have a menstrual cycle, and using yoga for both of those. Because yoga for body awareness first brings us into the physical, where we become aware of our physical body and drop back into our physical body. It's such a grounding practice. We use movement and postures, as you know, to get back into your body. But even still, even if you're practicing yoga, there could be such a disconnect between your mind or your spirit and your body or your emotions in your body that you might find it hard to even feel the sensation in a yoga posture where you're supposed to feel it, even if it's set up correctly. I once had a client who, every time he did shoulder roll 2, which is basically lying on the ground with on top of one arm, it's a shoulder stretch, just like if you were standing up and bringing your arm across your body to stretch your shoulder. And every time he did that posture, he couldn't feel it in his shoulder at all. And he was a very, very tight person. I am a very open person. And when I do this, just this little stretch even, I can still feel sensation in my body. Sometimes we're so disconnected from our bodies that we experience this sensation called, or this I don't want to say sensation. We experience this thing called sensory motor amnesia. And it's where you're so tight or so disconnected that you're not feeling a sensation at all. It's like your body forgets what that sensation could possibly feel like. So yoga still, even with practice, and especially with also some guided thought work, can help you get in touch with those sorts of things. So we begin to open the body. Nonetheless, yoga is the tool to get in touch with your physical first, right? It helps you acknowledge and realize those aches and pains that you've just kind of grown accustomed to. And it helps you tune into the joint soreness or muscle stiffness or joint stiffness rather, that maybe you've experienced for a long time and you just thought it's a part of getting old. Oh, it's just a part of aging. It sucks to get old. Not really. When you begin to tune into your body, tune into that awareness and get back into your physical, you start to be able to work through some of those things. And yoga is a phenomenal tool for that. Yoga for body awareness also helps you tap into the energetic side of things. Your breath is a physical practice, and I play around with putting breath in the physical and the energetic, because it really is a physical. And that's one of the things that when I take someone into child's pose, that's the second element that I have them recognize and acknowledge. I take that back. It's the third element. It's one of the first three elements that I have them tune into. But the breath is really your energetic presence, right? So when you can notice what it's doing and begin to posture it in a way that matches how you want to feel, by altering either the in to be longer or the out breath to be longer, it can create an energetic shift or change in who you are as a person. Lengthening the out breath will naturally help you feel calmer, and holding or lengthening the in breath, taking more in breath, can make you feel more energetic, more energized. So in the practice that I teach, if you create an even in breath and out breath, it actually creates an energized calm, which is a beautiful thing. There are times when I cue clients to take a longer out breath when I know they're feeling exceptionally anxious and want to calm the nervous system a little bit more. So your breath, the energetic side of you, yoga teaches us to tune into that, because in my opinion, it's not really yoga unless you're tuned into your breath, unless you're tapping into your breath as well. You've heard me say that before. Our breath changes how the spirit interacts with the world. The next thing that tapping into your physical body or your body awareness impacts is the emotional, and it calms the nervous system. Practicing yoga naturally begins to calm the nervous system, and depending on how the sequence of postures is tied together that you use to practice will also depend on how you feel and how calm or energized your nervous system gets. Your breath also ties into that. So do you see how they're kind of layering? The first level is you experience and feel the postures. The next level is you tune into your breath and you begin to posture your breath to how you want to feel, because when you posture your breath, it changes your emotional outcome. Body awareness is the first level of encountering our feelings. If you cannot tap into your physical body and drop back into your physical body, it's going to be even harder to name your feelings and name your emotions. So yoga helps us do that, right? You first have to be able to feel what's happening in your body, feel what's happening in the physical before you can peel back the layers and go even deeper. It's like you start on the outside of a bullseye and begin to work your way in. And finally, the last piece that body awareness really helps us, or yoga for body awareness helps you address, is the spiritual, which encompasses all of the elements of health combined. And the spiritual is impacted by all of the other qualities that I just mentioned, the physical, the energetic, and the mental. It is the activation or relaxation of the power of will. Your spiritual is your ability to adapt and surrender to the present moment. It's the presence that you bring to a particular situation. It is the bigger side of you, right? It changes your experience with your aches and pains that you've come to anticipate, or even that you've just come to live with because you think that you have to. So when you first begin to do the work in the physical and also bring in the breath, it naturally begins to shift your emotional, your mental, and then ultimately it changes your spirit. It changes how you interact with the world. It changes how you move through the world and how you relate to the aches and pains that you're experiencing. So this is a lot of information, and this is a pretty deep topic for you today. But I wanted to let you know this because this is a good foundation for understanding how your mind and body work together, and how yoga is a tool that can help you tap into the physical, tap into your body awareness, so that ultimately you change your mental, emotional, and spiritual outcome. You change your vibration in this world. You change who you are and how you, how your presence, how you interact with other people. Remember that your body awareness, which yoga teaches you on a primitive level, is knowing and feeling the slight changes or shifts in your physical, energetic, mental, and emotional self, so that it ultimately changes the spirit of who you are as a person. So here are your health, harmony, and happiness takeaways for this episode. When you start considering your mind-body relationship like this, as one, as though it's a body-mind instead of being separate, the way you look at your health will change drastically, because you'll start to embody the idea that your physical symptoms are actually your mind's way, and maybe even your soul's way, of communicating with you. You might begin to have more compassion for whatever discomfort or pain is bothering you, because you might actually start to realize that it's trying to get you to get in touch with a deeper part of yourself. And remember that there can't be harmony in your body unless there's harmony in your mind as well. And the third takeaway, the happiness takeaway here, is that when you address whatever is out of harmony, when you listen to what you really need, not just complain about the aches and pains, not just grumble through it or accept it as a fact of life, you'll have a more fulfilling life, and you'll be able to learn contentedness even in the midst of those challenges. That's it for today, friends. I will see you all next year, or in the new year, as next week's episode will be the first of 2023. Hard to believe this year went by quickly. Until then, I'm Kathy Stricker, and you've been listening to Health, Harmony, and Happiness with Kathy. Cheers to cultivating your own version of health, harmony, and happiness in your life.